WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. A West Point man claims a local company is refusing to hire him because of his past criminal record. Anthony Swift says he was offered a position at Yokohama Tire Cooperation. However, after they completed a background check and saw he was a convicted felon, Swift says they rescinded that offer. Our Quentin Smith speaks with the West Point man. So, Quentin, is there an actual law that prohibits companies from discriminating against convicted felons?
Well, Scott, there are federal laws that prevent employers from discriminating against someone due to their race, sex, or religion, among other things. But when it comes to convicted felons, companies are free to make their own policy. Swift says that's the harsh reality facing many convicted felons, and he desperately wants to see that change.
Dear Anthony, thank you for your interest in Yokohama Tire Manufacturer in Mississippi.
As Anthony Swift reads what he calls a disheartening email.
Unfortunately, you did not pass a portion of the pre-screening process. Thus, we are rescinding your offer dated 5/30/2019.
He says he's still having a hard time coming to grips on why a local tire manufacturer chose not to hire him.
It's kind of like I got convicted all over again, because I was there, I was qualified. I did what it took to get to that point. But then they used something that already had been taken care of to deny me, so it was a hurt.
The hurt stems from what he calls discrimination. Swift spent a total of 16 years behind bars for selling drugs. When he asked the company for their reasoning on why they denied him the job, Swift says they sent him this email simply showing all of his convictions.
For them to hold it against a person who's been convicted of a crime, drug offense or what have you, and then later on still hold it over their head, it's kind of like saying the Mississippi Department of Corrections is not doing their job, that they can't rehabilitate people. People can be rehabilitated.
Swift says this has become all too common for those leaving prison.
It's kind of prejudicial to the people who's been incarcerated to just be denied flat out because of a conviction that you've already served.
In Mississippi, there is not a law saying companies cannot discriminate against hiring convicted felons seeking employment. Swift calls that unfair. He believes once a person pays their debt to society, they deserve a second chance, a chance to show they've learned and grown from their mistakes.
The door should be open for everybody who's willing to come and work on a job and do what they're supposed to do, and follow the rules and guidelines of the company, as long as a person does that, that's what's required of a job. Your past, it's in your past.
Now, we reached out to Yokohama for a comment on this matter. They replied saying, in part, Yokohama does not disclose confidential information regarding its candidates or employees. Now, I do want to point out, beginning next Monday, a state law will go into effect called the Fresh Start Act. The bill states that no one shall be disqualified from pursuing, practicing, or engaging in any occupation for which a license is required solely or in part because of a prior conviction of a crime, unless the crime for which the person was convicted directly relates to the duties and responsibilities of the licensed occupation. Scott?
All right, Quentin, thank you very much. Well, changes to Mississippi's no-call law will make it tougher on dishonest telemarketers and scammers. Public Service Commissioner Brandon Presley says these changes will better protect residents and businesses from those telemarketers who want to try and skirt the law. The no-call law changes will allow authorities to file criminal charges against telemarketers who steal from people. Also, charities using paid telemarketers for cold calling must register with the PSC, and caller ID spoofing will be against the law. Even those who develop the technology to help disguise phone numbers could even face tough consequences.
They are aiding and abetting these people to steal from Mississippians. And, they may have a defense. They're going to get a chance to make it because we're going to pursue cases against them.
Changes to the no-call law go into effect July the 1st. Presley encourages everyone to make sure you have personal and business phone numbers on that do not call list. Mayors, aldermen, and women are at the Mississippi Municipal League's 88th annual conference. They're there asking the state legislature and candidates vying for statewide office to protect home rule. Now, home rule allows cities and towns to make their own decisions locally. Some members of the Mississippi Municipal League are concerned about efforts to potentially get rid of the home rule. Starkville Mayor Lynn Spruill says that it's the people in her town that are going to come to her first for issues in Starkville.
We understand what's going on, and we have the opportunity to have our people vote on these things. And I think having to go to the legislature and ask for that on a regular basis and then come back again after 4 years or 3 years or 10 years and ask yet again for it makes it very difficult for us to rule properly.
Over 3,000 city leaders were at this year's conference. Time now to get a first look at our forecast. We'll send things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Hey there, Keith.
Hey Scott, a warm and humid day, afternoon showers and storms bubbling over here into Alabama. These trying to get closer and closer to the Mississippi as we've gone throughout the evening hours. Those really haven't done so, but we've had this one little cell which is currently northeast of Tremont that is now moving to the northwest of Hamilton, Alabama. That's really about it right now. Some thunder and lightning, some heavy downpours on an isolated basis right now. Bigger complexes of rain away from us. Those are falling apart, but we'll have a better chance for some of those as we get into our day tomorrow. Tonight, pretty warm, pretty steamy, lows around 70. And for your Thursday, highs around 90, give or take. And guess what? We'll have more scattered showers and storms possible around here. Your full forecast is coming up.
Some teachers are back in class this summer. 60 teachers are on the MUW campus learning to keep kids engaged in the classroom. The educators are learning how to be more creative and innovative as they present their lessons. Instructors say an energetic learning environment helps keep students focused.
We're giving them proven strategies that they can easily implement, whether it's incorporating brain breaks that just wakes the brain up and gets them ready for the next thing they're learning, but getting students out of their seats and enjoying the classroom and having fun while they're learning.
Aloha says the main goal was to build new resources and strategies students can relate to in the classroom. Children at Tupelo's Haven Acres Boys and Girls Club get a little help with their reading skills. Provisional members of the Tupelo Junior Auxiliary have been working with children at the club for the last 3 weeks. JA members work in small groups, helping the kids with reading comprehension, spelling, phonics, and other skills. The young people get to improve their reading while JA members make many new friends.
My favorite thing about this so far is just the relationships that I've built with the children here. I'm hoping that I get to see them more than just over these past 3 weeks because the children here are so precious and they're so loving, and it has been the highlight of my summer to be here.
In the summer, kids can regress a little bit in their education. It's called the summer slide, and so we want to help these students not regress. And so we hope by being out here these 3 weeks, it's been 12 days, that we've made an impact in the students in their summer learning.
20 junior auxiliary members contributed more than 300 hours to the initiative in the past 3 weeks. The focus was more on seasoned citizens in Monroe County today. The Sheriff's Department hosted its annual senior fair. Seniors from all over the county met with vendors to talk about their health. They even got the chance to get health screenings and talk with healthcare providers. Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says they host the event to let the seniors know they care.
We do this to help our seniors, and we feed them lunch, and we have all these vendors here that can give them some ideas about how they can improve their health and give them a better life and doing things. And you know, they get to connect with a lot of people that they wouldn't any other way.
We always come. They usually take your blood pressure, and she checked kidney function over here a while ago, and I've been told I have a problem with that, so I was really excited about that.
Sheriff Cantrell says the event continues to grow year after year.
All right, here's our live Doppler radar. We have some towering downpours just to the north of Hamilton, Alabama. Some vivid lightning coming out of those cells and some good rain, but that's really about it right now. We'll have your full forecast next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Here's our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. Our time lapses from this evening. You can see some of those clouds moving around, bubbling on up at times, giving rise to showers and storms. But most of us not seeing anything but a great evening of weather around here, just very humid. You can see this one storm cell now moving east of Fulton, just north of I-22. There's Hamilton, Alabama here. So some lightning strikes. And speaking of the lightning, check out this great photo right there from Liz Guyton looking back to the north. You can see some of that coming out of that cloud right there. Pretty vivid bolt on an isolated basis are these thunderstorms tonight, and some brief downpours, a quick quarter to a half-inch plus in some of these spots around Fulton, and even earlier this evening around Union County and New Albany, but that's really been about it. You can just see the isolated nature of the activity right now. Let's talk about these rain chances. Let's explain what we're talking about when we pop on the radar and show you a couple of blips. On an isolated basis, 10 to 20%, scattered, numerous, widespread when we really have a lot of activity. We are currently in this scattered 30, 40, 50% range, and that's where we're going to be, I think, for the next few days here, going through the weekend into next week. So not everyone will see a storm, but on the radar, we'll show you some showers and storms about each and every day for the near term. But to our north, this big mass, that big, huge blob of color there, that was an MCS, mesoscale convective system, another one of these big fancy weather terms. But it was a big-time storm complex that has been producing some wind damage and some hail to our north today. Now, those storms are falling apart right now since the sun has gone down. A lot of that energy is going away. But the little disturbance that kicked it off earlier is actually moving south. And tomorrow morning when you wake up and head to work, we should be okay. But we may start to bubble up some storms and showers during the morning, and some of that will continue into the afternoon, again, on a scattered basis here. So not everyone's going to see a storm. We'll just broad brush the better rain chances from late morning through the afternoon and evening. Now, outside of any storm, we are looking at highs somewhere in the low 90s or upper 80s. But if you see a storm early and some cloud cover, maybe only mid to upper 80s. But the rain chance about 40% more or less. If you get underneath one of those storm cells, maybe some gusty wind, perhaps some hail, some heavy downpours, and some of that vivid lightning as we showed you, but some spots won't see it. So that's what we are doing across the Twin States here for our Thursday, and as you would expect, this pattern will continue. This is a persistence forecast, so what happened today will likely happen the next couple of days too. So highs in the low 90s, scattered storms during the day. A lot of that goes away during the evening, overnight lows in the low 70s.
The high school football tour makes a swing through Monroe County. We check in with the Hamilton Lions a little bit later in sports.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
The heat is on across North Mississippi and West Alabama. Now, there are several things that can actually contribute to becoming dehydrated. We'll learn more tonight on Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I am Lee Richardson, a physician in the emergency room at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. Dehydration occurs when there isn't enough water in your body to replace what's lost throughout the day. Your system literally dries out. Sometimes dehydration occurs for simple reasons. You may not drink enough because you are sick or busy, or because you lack access to safe drinking water, such as when you are traveling, hiking, or camping. Dehydration also can occur when you have severe acute diarrhea, which can cause tremendous loss of water and electrolytes in a short amount of time. If you have vomiting along with diarrhea, you lose even more fluids and minerals. Children and infants are especially at risk. Other causes of dehydration include fever. In general, the higher the fever, the more dehydrated you become. Excessive sweating. If you do vigorous activity and don't replace fluids as you go along, you can become dehydrated. Hot, humid weather increases the amount you sweat and the amount of fluid you lose. But you can also become dehydrated in winter if you don't replace lost fluids. Increased urination. This is most often the result of undiagnosed or uncontrolled diabetes, a disease that affects the way your body uses blood sugar. This type of diabetes often causes increased thirst and more frequent urination. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, when we will discuss who is at risk for dehydration and how it is treated.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle.
The high school football tour checks in with the Hamilton Lions. A new head coach takes over. More on what to expect from the Lions coming up next in sports.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
The high school football tour continues with Region 2 1A. The third stop journeys to Monroe County as we check in on the Hamilton Lions, a program with plenty of history that's starting fresh with a whole lot of new faces in the upcoming season. It's been 5 years since the Hamilton Lions saw a winning season. It's been 6 since they saw a playoff berth, and it's been 37 since the Lions have been crowned the 1A state title winners. But 2019 is a brand new season with a new head coach and a new team. This one determined that hard work will begin the road to a winning season.
Many people counted us out. They were right, but we're looking forward to coming back stronger than ever with the new coach. It's going to be difficult, but a lot of things in life are difficult, and we have to strive to make it better.
Hopefully I can come in and try to turn things around and make this program back what it used to be whenever they won 50 games in a row back in the 80s, because I know that Hamilton is a very proud tradition, and hopefully we can get back to that here.
1, 2, 3, win! With 8 seniors returning, first-year head coach Wade Pierce says this team will count a lot on its younger guys, but believes as long as the work starts in the weight room, this Lion squad can find success.
But you know, from the moment that I came in here, you could tell that there's some good football players here. And I think whenever you get that confidence back up that these kids have, I really believe that we're going to be successful here.
It comes from the weight room. Not a lot of people attended workout sessions, and that's what caused us a lot of people injuries, and that was mainly our downfall last year.
A fresh start on the gridiron for this Hamilton squad is the best way to look toward the future.
Start practicing really hard, working out, putting in a whole new offense, defense, and we're going to try and tear up the field.
It's getting the kids to believe that they can win. That's the hardest part. And whenever the kids start believing that, that's when the wins come.
The future of Hamilton begins with a matchup to Hatley on August 23rd. Until then, don't count out the Lions.
We may be young, but we're going to be better.
Reporting in Hamilton on the high school football tour, Courtney Robb, WCBI Sports.
60 schools in 60 days with Hamilton High School was brought to you by Holloway's Body Shop and Monroe County Farm Bureau.
Well, I can't wait to watch what the Lions can accomplish this upcoming season. And speaking of upcoming, here are the upcoming stops on the high school football tour. Tomorrow, stop number 4 checks in on the Warriors in Nanawoya. Then Friday, end your week with the Smithville Seminoles. The weekend featuring the Myrtle Hawks on Saturday. And we're ending your week with TCPS on Sunday. You can go to our Twitter and Facebook accounts at WCBI Endzone to see the schedule whenever. And also, any tour stops you might have missed are available on our website at WCBI.com. The College World Series Championship, Game 3 between Michigan and Vandy. Winner gets the title. I, for one, would certainly love that slice of pizza right now. But let's get to the game. Top of the first and no score yet. Michigan strikes first. Jordan Brewer with an RBI single. Aiko Thomas comes in to score, and the Wolverines lead by 1. Bottom of the second with no runners on. Pat DeMarco sparks a major life into Vanderbilt's offense. The solo home run bomb for the Commodores to tie things up at 1. We head to the bottom of the third. Vandy's Austin Martin grounds one down. The third base line, Blake Nelson makes the dive and stop, hops up and throws Martin out. What a play from him. That same inning, after 2 walks and a single, Vandy with the bases loaded. DeMarco draws a walk and forces in a run. Vandy takes a 2-1 lead. Next batter, Steven Scott singles right up the middle. That drives in 2 more runs, and so make that a 4-1 lead for the Doors. And then we move to the bottom of the fourth. Vandy with runners on first and second. Who else but J.J. Blade with a single to drive in Ty Duval, and Vanderbilt now leading 5-1. And then the top of the fifth, Vandy leading 6-1. Michigan's Jimmy Kerr hits one deep to left. Scott makes the nice leaping catch and ends the inning. And the Vandy offense was just relentless. In the bottom of the 7th, Harrison Ray singles to drive in DeMarco and tack on another. And there was run after run after run. And eventually Vanderbilt ends up with a big win over Michigan, 8-2 the final, becoming your College World Series champions. And the baseball season officially comes to a close. That's it for sports. Your last look is next.
Well, if you look to the northeast, you are apt to see some flashes of lightning. That is way to the northeast of here, so that is not coming our way. But can't rule out a stray storm tonight. A better chance for more of those pop-up storms tomorrow, Thursday, and also for your Friday, the weekend, too, on a scattered basis. Warm and steamy.
Warm and steamy. It's summertime in Mississippi.
It sure is.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.